Hi, I'm Christina O'Flaherty. I'm a clinical psychologist in private practice in Washington, D.C., and I also offer online sessions. And today I was going to make a video about what to do when you don't know what to talk about in psychotherapy. Um, and I will do that maybe next time. But this morning I was out walking my dog a few blocks down the street from where I live in my neighborhood. And I saw this scene sort of unfold in front of me between a man and his daughter, presumably his daughter. The guy he seemed to be dressed for work. He had the dog on a leash, and him and his daughter were coming, who's probably maybe 6 or 7. They were coming out of the house together, and it looked like they were probably going to walk the dog, and then maybe he was going to take her to the bus stop. And then he was presumably going to go to work. So what ended up happening was that the little girl began running down the driveway, and she tripped and she fell. And I could see from where I was standing, maybe 50 feet away, and she had really scraped up her knee, and she was crying. And I looked at the dad, and Dad looks stressed and angry, and I imagined that he was thinking something like, oh man, now I've got to take care of this before we can walk the dog and go off to start our days. And you could see the tension in his face. And the little girl's crying, and she's telling him it hurts, and he's saying, I bet it hurts. Maybe you needed to slow down, and now you have to get back in the house, and we're going to have to take care of that knee before we can go anywhere. And he's angry, and he is not looking at her. He's beginning to walk back in the house. She's still standing there crying, clearly still wanting something from him. And this scene is something that I think any working parent can relate to, or any parent really, when you're under a time crunch and something happens, and you just feel like, oh crap, this is going to take a while, and you're probably going to be late, or there's going to be some consequence to this, right? This is probably a one-off for this dad and this little girl, but it got me thinking about soothing and how children learn to soothe, and then how adults soothe themselves. I just wanted to use the example, not judging this parent, because I've been there. I know most parents have been there at some point, where what we offer is not quite what is needed, or it's less than ideal. Now, if this kind of thing is a habitual response from a parent or a caregiver, if when a child is in pain, the response is anger, dismissal, a distancing emotionally or physically, the child learns a few things. The kid learns that their sadness, their pain is, it doesn't produce any good, connecting, nurturing effect. So it's pushed away, it's disowned, eventually over time, if this is habitual. And they may learn something like, it's my fault that I feel bad. You know, if I hadn't been running down the driveway, if I hadn't said that thing to my boss, if I hadn't done this with my friend, I wouldn't be in pain right now, right? So it turns us against ourselves if this is the habitual response with a caregiver. And it can really create some problems in terms of relationships. So we're wired to go to one another with our vulnerabilities, with our pain, and put it out there, and generally be met with understanding and kindness and compassion. But if we believe that our feelings, our sadness, our pain is going to push someone away, make someone more distant, we won't connect in that way. And that can be a real difficulty in a relationship later. Now, let's say that this father has a very different response normally with his daughter. And let's say that it went down on a different day, and the father and daughter are walking down the driveway, or the daughter starts running and she falls and she hurts herself, and he says, "Oh, let me take a look at that. Oh, that looks like it really hurts. You must be in pain." Gives her a hug, says, "Let's go in and we'll clean this up. You'll be good as new." Right? Most likely, that little girl is going to calm down pretty quickly. They're going to go inside. Things are going to be fine. That little girl learns that when she's in pain and when she asks for help and support, it is given. It is offered. And it brings connection. It brings closeness. She learns to notice her feelings, notice that she's feeling sad. And then she has some choices. She can either, because she has learned what soothing is, she can calm herself down. I'll take care of this. I'll be good as new. Everything will be fine. Right? Or, I need help, and I need to pull someone in and ask for help and let them be with me while I'm trying to work through this. And I'll receive connection and compassion. Two very different messages, right? We don't have to do that ideal response all the time, just half the time, most of the time, right? And it turns out to be the easiest, quickest thing to do. Contrary to many popular baby books, soothing is not learned by a baby or a young child by themselves, left alone. It's a skill that is learned through connection with a caregiver. It's just not true that if you leave a child to their own devices, they'll learn how to soothe. They will learn how to ignore their feelings. They will learn how to be disconnected. And that's not what we want for healthy relationships when we're adults. So I hope this was useful, not judgy or preachy. I have been there myself where I've had some variation of the less than ideal response. I think we all have, and that's human and that's expected. But we can really instill this soothing capacity in our kids. And help them grow into into adults who have really good connected relationships. I'd love to hear more about how you parent, what you think, and thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.